Yes, g'day Tiger fans and welcome to Richmond's live weekly podcast Talking Tigers. Josh, I tell you, it was a hard pill to swallow Friday night, but we've patched ourselves up, we're fired up and ready to go. In fact, with the Masters starting at Augusta on Thursday, I'm taking out the one wood today and I'm going to go really hard. Greeners, he's still laid up, but he will call us a little bit later on in the show. But as always, I'm joined by our digital guru, Josh Berryman, JB, or the Berryman, whichever one you like, you choose. G'day, Josh.
G'day, Richo.
Mate? How are you?
Not too bad, mate. Recovered all right after the weekend.
Wasn't a great weekend,
Wasn't
mate.
a great weekend, and the song that led us off there, Heartbreaker by Led Zeppelin.
You can't beat Led Zeppelin.
That's right, your choice there. When I saw Heartbreaker on the run sheet, I thought it might have been the Mariah Carey version, so I was a little bit worried there. I thought we've inflicted enough pain this week that our fans don't need to hear that.
No, you couldn't have any more pain than Mariah Carey, Heartbreaker, but there's actually about 5 versions of Heartbreaker. I think we chose the best one with Zeppelin.
You certainly did, and interesting little story off the top, Led Zeppelin there, and fucking self-indulge there for a little bit.
No, that's what this show's all about, mate.
That's right. Interesting story from my old man a few years back in the early 2000s. He did a bit of work for a gentleman overseas in England who was like a coterie member style for the Wolverhampton Wanderers football club over there, the Wolves. So he went along one day, as you would here, to like a coterie sort of function pre-game, and then he found his seat and it was in the director's box, and a bit more exclusive over there. The director's box are nice and small, so he wanders over to his seat, and who should he be next to than Robert Plant himself.
Wow.
A long-time Wolves supporter who's now actually a vice president of the club over there. So
was he a good bloke? Did he chat to the old man?
Yeah, my old man spoke to him there for a little bit. So it was one of those early morning kickoffs. So I don't think Robert was all... I
reckon he'd be an afternoon sort of late night operator, Robert Plant. Don't worry about that.
Those rock guys, probably early morning kickoff, not their style. But
that's a good story.
It's a good story. Bit of self-indulgence off the top, but that's how we go.
Why not? If you want to tell us a story or get involved in the show, give us a ring, 9426 4423. We'll be having a quiz right off the top here pretty shortly, so give us a ring for the quiz, or you can get involved on social media, hashtag Talking Tigers. So send through a few tweets if you want. But Greeners is still absent, Josh. He's actually not well, Greeners.
No, he's not so well. We had a couple of tweets in during the week, using hashtag Talking Tigers. First from Neil Lardner said, "Get well soon, Greeners. I hope the nursing home is looking after you." Well,
it's sort of a bit tongue-in-cheek there by Neil, but he's not that far away, actually. To be honest,
sounded a bit flat when we got him on the phone last week, and don't know if he's improved much over the week, so we'll get him on later.
I spoke to him yesterday. He hasn't improved.
And our man, the Tail, has a suggestion that maybe we send a group of people over to Greeners' house to have a chat, and I'm sure he'd welcome that very much so. Well,
we suggested last week we could maybe take the studio to Greeners at home, but he doesn't like people, so he won't let us in his house.
Anyway, we'll have to find a way.
Hey, one thing, Josh, I know you were pretty keen on, and I was... one thing that did get me up after the loss was watching the Windies the other night in the World T20 final.
Yes.
Because going into that last over with Ben Stokes bowling, I thought they had it. I thought surely they can't get 19 off the last over. 4 sixes in a row. Yep. I could not have been more pumped up watching it was amazing. Watching the English go down.
Biggest hits from Braithwaite since round 1, they're saying. But he...
boom, boom.
Yeah, no good. But it was nice to see them just take it in their stride and, not go over the top with their celebrations, you could say.
They kept it in check, I thought.
Just to,
They're the
only, what they do often.
They're the only team that can get away with carrying on like that, aren't they?
What do you mean by carrying on? You mean the shirts off? Or
just the whole thing.
The teeing off in the post-game presses?
I reckon Chris Gale would play without a top on if he could.
Yep. And Usain Bolt getting involved on social media as well is just a riot over there.
It was. But it didn't get me over the disappointment of round 2. It was a hard one to take, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll go through it a bit more later on, but to have the game so close to the finish, just about 3 goals up, and to watch it go the other way with more or less the last kick of the game from Brodie Grundy was it was devastating, but round 3 this week, so you've got to go again. Richo, what were your thoughts on the game?
Oh, look, I think we're not playing well. We're coughing the ball up too much and conceding, too many points on turnovers. I think it was noted in the Herald Sun today, and it was something we had an issue with early last year, and that's why you've just got to keep it in perspective. You need to realise that, you can turn things around. This time last year we weren't playing that well either, but we ended up winning 15 games. So let's not get carried away. But of course, a lot of people out there are writing Richmond off already. But one thing I did note, and this is with a little bit of help from Greeners, and this isn't an excuse, it's just a little bit of perspective and a bit of reality. We had the 4th least experienced playing list out there over the weekend of all of the teams. Brisbane are the least experienced at the moment with 15-27 games. The Pies, actually, to their credit, they only had 51 games worth of experience out there. Melbourne had 1,615, and we were next, 16-27. So we had a lot of experience out. We're not playing well, but hey, we should be 2-0. We're not. But things can only get better as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to look at the bright side of it. And everyone talks about the Dogs and Saints being, young and going places. They are, but they had more experience out there on the weekend than us. So just a little bit of reality there, I think.
And a guy who was probably the least experienced of all had been noted off the tweets here from Jess Benson and Redhead27. It was just exciting to see Jaden Short make his debut and looked every bit as accomplished as all the others out there. Took his chances with 3 goals and you would have been rapt to see his debut. Yeah,
it was, Josh. I think what I loved about it is we've been talking about small forwards and how important they are now, and he went out there in his debut and kicked 3 goals, just got himself involved, kept lively. The one thing I loved that he did, he went and rounded up Scott Pendlebury after he had a really big first quarter, so he also sort of shut Pendlebury's influence out of the game a little bit while kicking 3 goals. So, look, I thought he was fantastic, and it was great to see a small forward have an impact.
Absolutely, and it's hard to call it a highlight given the end result, but one of the things that excited me most was actually his point that he kicked, where he was front and square, just snapped it onto his boot, and a metre either way, a metre the other way, that's a fantastic result for him.
Front and square crumb, and he showed that he's going to be in the right positions more often than not.
Absolutely, and I could be wrong here with my stats here, but I think it's already the most goals kicked by number 45 in one game. That is... That's from AFL table, so that could be wrong. But
I like it, though.
Anyway, if you have some feedback on that, tweet us in with #TalkingTigers.
Hey, Josh, before the game, you would have been down in the rooms. I wasn't in the rooms, but it was great to see Nathan Foley back at the club, and he presented Shorty with his jumper, and let's have a listen to what Foles had to say.
Yeah, so Livo called me yesterday and told me that Shorty was going to make his debut, and I was really excited for you, Shorty. And one of the main reasons I was really excited for you is that from the moment you come to this club, you've just brought so much energy, so much enthusiasm, a willingness to learn, and that willingness to improve, I think, has allowed you to step up your game and your fitness. And from all reports, mate, your pre-season was fantastic. And from all that hard work, you're now here tonight, Friday night at the G, making a debut against Collingwood, and it's a fantastic effort, mate, and really well deserved. Making a debut is a great night. All the blokes in this room would agree with that, and it's something you'll remember forever. So when you get a chance, have a look around out there and take it all in for a few seconds, because it's a fantastic night that you'll never forget. Wearing the Richmond jumper and running out with your teammates is one of the greatest things you'll ever do, and we've always spoken about how it's a privilege and an honour to wear this jumper and something you should never take for granted. And Shorty, I know you won't take this for granted. You've worked really hard to come up through the rookie draft to be in this position here tonight, so I know you'll always represent this jumper with a lot of passion. Finally, mate, you know there's still a lot of hard work ahead, and first and foremost, that's tonight and going forward. But we know as a group that you'll leave no stone unturned. So congratulations, mate. All the best tonight, and let's make this the first of many games. Well done, Shorty. Well done, mate. Fantastic.
Yeah, well spoken there by Foles, and he'll remember that forever, playing Collingwood Friday night and getting his jumper off Nathan Foley. Hey, let's jump into the quiz nice and early today, so we've got plenty of time. So obviously playing the Crows this week, Josh.
Yes.
I thought we'd go obviously with the Crows theme. So do you want to asked the question there. Have you got it on your rundown? No, you haven't. No, I did write it on the rundown.
Oh,
That's
okay,
what,
well, there
that's
you
what
go.
a rundown
Working
is,
beautifully.
Josh. You just read it off there, mate.
Okay.
You're actually turning into Greeners. He was no good with the rundown.
That is a worry indeed. Well, I got the question here, Richard.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, it is funny that. Name 3 players to have played for Richmond and Adelaide.
There you
Is
go.
that the question?
Yeah, it is.
That
Yeah, it
easy.
is.
There you go.
And there's been more than 3, obviously. But
And
we
want
three.
people to call in.
Yep,
So call through.
9426 4423.
So if you got the answer to that, get on the phone now.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Now we go to a few tweets that have come through over the last the week or so.
Scones is a bit off today, I think. Isn't he? It's just not quite with us, Sconner.
So I'll go for, this one's for you, Richo, from Colin Wheatgens, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. The boys took the responsibility for the loss collectively, but do blokes that make big or multiple mistakes get dropped? What are your thoughts on that one?
Well, yeah, they do. Yeah, history tells you if you have a bad night at the office, and that normally means making mistakes, that you feel the wrath of that at the selection table. So I think there'll be a few changes this week. Absolutely. There's one other one on there I just saw that come through from Justin CP, who said, "Can we discuss the inability of the leadership group to step up when they need to?" Well, it's a collective group thing, I think, and 3 of our leadership group actually weren't playing. Brett Delidio, Ivan Maric and Shane Edwards. So that takes a big hole out across the whole ground. Not an excuse, but when you're the 4th least experienced team in the comp, at times you're going to make the wrong decisions. Now, if you're a leader, you can't be everywhere all over the ground. And when you've got 3 of your leaders out, it does leave a little bit of a hole. Not being an excuse, you do need to step up, but it is a group thing. It's not one person.
One in here from Simon Wallace, who says, it's the hardest home and away loss since 2015 against Freo, the one where Mundy kicked the goal right at the end. But we'll recall what we did the next week, beat the supposedly peerless Hawks at the MCG. So that's a good point there, that you do get another crack next week. And speaking of next week, Benny Cashin has written through with the question looking towards the matchups this week. So against the mix of tall and small forwards at the Adelaide Football Club, Grimes would have been very handy, and we'll get to that later, that he's out for a couple of weeks. Who steps up to fill that spot, do you reckon?
Well, I think it's proven when you play a taller opponent on Eddie Betts, he can struggle with it. If you try and play guys his size like Port Adelaide did on the weekend, it doesn't work. You need to match him up with someone a little bit taller than him. That's why Grimesy would have been a good matchup. So Steve Morris has had success on him before, so maybe they'll bring Steve back in.
A few options
I
there
guess
for this week.
Jake Batchelor could come in, but I don't think he'd be a matchup for Eddie. So I think Morris potentially is
Might
the one.
get to that in the Yellow and Black Book specials a little later.
Yeah.
Nice to see over the week, Richo, that we had a few emails come in.
Beautiful.
Talking Tigers at richmondfc.com.au. The first here is from Kun Tran.
Yep.
G'day, Talking Tigers. I watched the game in a bar in Singapore which was full of Collingwood supporters. So needless to say, he was a bit flat, but no less flat than the players, though, I'd imagine, which is a good point. Thanks for the TTT, which he received over in the off-season. Thought you blokes have done a good job keeping the ship afloat on one leg, and hope Greeners recovers soon. Looking forward to today's episode.
That's great.
Just nice to get that feedback from over in Singapore.
And nice to see we're still going around the world.
Absolutely.
To Singapore.
Another one to come
everywhere.
from overseas there.
Yep. And we've got a caller for the quiz. We've got Ben from Brisbane on the line. G'day, Ben.
How are you, Richard?
How you going, mate?
Oh, not too bad. I'm actually in hospital, believe it or not.
Oh, no.
I'm having a Greeners moment.
Oh, no.
So you haven't got gout, have you?
I do have an infection, but it's in my guts.
Oh, no.
I won't go into too much
No. Well, we hope they're looking
hope all's
after
well
you in
for you,
there.
Ben.
Sorry?
I hope all's going well for you, Ben. Now,
Yeah.
question for the quiz. Name 3 players to have played for Richmond and Adelaide. How do you think you're going to go?
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not that hard, is it, Benny?
No. Can I give you my 3?
Absolutely.
Yes,
All right. I'm going with Jason Tawney,
Yep. Tawns.
Kane Johnson,
Tick.
and Ivan Maric.
Yes.
And there were plenty more there. You could have gone, Clay Sampson, Richard Tambling. So there were other guys there. Well done, Ben. Thanks for listening. Do you think we can bounce back this week against the Crows?
I'm pretty confident.
Good.
I think my boy Kane Lambert's going to get 31 possessions. That's my yellow and black book special.
Very good to hear.
He's
Been in good form, Kane, at the start of the season. So.
We love his work. Hey, Benny, when you get a chance there, mate, if you're lying around, I'm sure you've got a little bit of time, just email in to talkingtigers@richmondfc.com.au, just your address, and, mate, we'll get a T-shirt up to you, a TTT.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. Cheers, mate.
Ben.
Thanks, guys.
Good to hear from Ben there.
Yeah,
Hope
we
all
wish him
goes
well.
well up in Brisbane for sure. And speaking of hospitalisations and people not going so well, we've had a few emails in over the week. We put the call out last week for Greeners, if anyone does have any help for him, to send some through. So we've got Tony Kent, who sent this email through. He said, "G'day boys, love the show and enjoy having it playing in the background while I'm at my desk. Listening to this week's podcast, I sympathise with Greeners and Chris Yarran on their plantar problems. Having got it in my late 50s and thinking I would never be able to run again." And Tony's gone on to give some advice. There is hope, and it has quite a Tiger flavour.
Yeah.
Mark Summers is a physio at Fairfield and has helped me fix numerous soft tissue injuries over the
Mark
past
Summers
decade.
played for Richmond.
Exactly right. So older Richmond people will remember Mark played a couple of seasons in the 80s as a ruckman after being picked up from Old Zads. So he played 15 games over 88 and 89, wearing the number 43.
Beautiful.
So there you go, Greeners. There might be your recovery there with Mark Summers.
Yeah, give Mark a call, Greeners. If you're listening, I know you are.
Absolutely. So thanks for sending through your emails this week.
Yeah, keep them coming in. We've got a bit of news this week too, I think, haven't we?
We do. Bit of club news this week. So, of course, the game, round 3, Richmond versus Adelaide at Etihad Stadium. The Tigerland Superstore will be out there. So it's relocating to Etihad Stadium this week at gates 5 and 7 from midday and out on the outer concourse. So spend your money with the Tigerland Superstore, with all proceeds going towards the club. And members, don't forget that you get a 10% discount. The VFL Rich Show is back in action this week with round 1 of the season. The VFL pre-season games probably didn't go as well as would have hoped, and the club's up against it with a really tough battle in round 1, going up against the Premier Williamstown.
Oh, well, good way to bounce back.
Absolutely. So that's this Sunday, April 10 at Burbank Oval, 2:10 p.m.
Is that at Willie, is it?
I presume so. It's, of course, Williamstown, Kane Lambert and Marcon territory over the last couple of years. So
they're blowing a gale out there, as always.
For sure. They're a very strong outfit out there at Williamstown. And, of course, you might have seen on Friday we launched something that the podcast will be involved in over the next couple of weeks, next week especially, with, I think, Mike coming in. So this is Mike Sheehan's Top 50 Tigers. So vote for your chance to who you think will be Mike's top 5.
Yep.
And if you are successful, you win the chance to dine with Mike at the President's Function in round 7 ahead of the Hawthorn match. How do you think that's going to go down, Richard?
That's a good comp because it's a tough one. The top 5 Tigers players of the last 50 years to get it right. I reckon that's a great competition. I'm going to enter.
Yep. Do you reckon you might feature in the top 50 for Mike?
Well, I might hopefully get into this top 50.
Yeah.
He doesn't
or Lids. Do you reckon Lids might get into this one as well?
Lids should get into this one. Yes, he should. I'll tell you who might also get in there as well. Our boy, the Chieftain. It's a bit of a sombre note in here today, Josh, to be honest, isn't it?
I've noticed.
There's been a catastrophe here this morning in the social and media department at the Richmond Footy Club. Now, the Chief, he came in this morning with a full head of steam. He flew in here to our office, and he doesn't normally come down this way. He likes to stick over his side of the building where he's got his mahogany fridge that's been made, and, of course, the Italian leather chair that's been custom made. So he likes to stay in there. He doesn't come around with a riff-raff here in the communications area. But he did today. And we learnt that he listened to his first ever podcast in the car on the way in here this morning.
Well, that's good to hear. That could only be a positive, I'm sure.
Well, that was a positive because he doesn't normally listen to us, the Chief. He's got far too many other things to do. But he did have a listen today, and he listened to the episode, you'll remember, a few weeks ago, where Pikelets had his chance to step up to the plate.
I remember it well.
He came in. All he had to do was deliver one joke, Pikelets.
And a Black Book special.
Yep. Well, he failed in both areas, did Pikelets. The Black Book special, he just didn't get the whole concept of it. And he had a pot shot at one of our players.
Yep.
So Brendan was filthy at him for that. Mm-hmm. He was filthy at him for bringing down the standard of the podcast, Talking Tigers, because it's Simon Matthews, our boss, tells Brendan how good it is.
It's great.
So you know what he's done?
Oh, surely just some words of feedback, a bit of one-on-one.
Yeah, feedback, all right.
What's
the ultimate feedback? He sacked Pikelets this morning.
On the spot.
On the spot.
Oh, no.
So Matty over there's laughing. He's not too concerned about losing his sidekick. Pikelets has been sacked.
Wow. So we've already lost AC. Greeners is nowhere to be
It's a
seen.
threadbare department here at the moment.
We're running on the smell of an oily rag, and he's gotten rid of one of our video guys.
Yeah, so we're done.
Wow.
And you think I'm joking? I'll guarantee you Pikelets is gone.
Not sure how to take that.
So the Chief, just watch your back, Josh.
Yeah, I'm going to have to straighten up here, Richo.
He's got the axe out.
Wow, well, that just shows the power of the man.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick to his good side.
Oh, no.
I'd say one man who won't be, being marched by the Chief is Peter Burge. He's given us an injury update this week.
Oh, good.
So,
well, he might get sacked if we keep getting injured. I'm joking, Burge.
Oh, wow.
That's a joke, obviously.
That's a joke. Wow. So the one out of the last weekend, you would have seen Dylan Grimes at the end of the first quarter running towards his defensive goal, pulled up with a hamstring tendon injury. And
I thought the worst, actually.
It didn't look so good. So I think Pete spoke to Raw Vision yesterday about his injury and where Grimes is at.
So Dylan suffered a hamstring injury at the end of the first quarter, quite low on his semitendinosus for all the medical experts out there. It's an unusual and rare injury. He did have this issue last year versus Adelaide as well and missed 2 games, and we're anticipating it'll be approximately the same. So we'll see how that goes. Brett suffered a quad injury the week before round 1, kicking a short kick at training. Obviously really frustrating for everyone. Right now he's running flat out. He's resumed kicking, but it's very short kicking at this stage, and we'll progress that over the next week. He won't be playing this week.
So there you have it, Richo, from Burgee there. So
that's confirmed that Lids won't be playing this week.
Yeah, Lids not to play this week and Grimesy to miss a couple of weeks. So I think it was important that Burgee got on record there with Lids that it didn't stem the injury from pre-season. It was actually post NAB 3 where he was doing some kicking there.
Yeah.
And Grimesy to miss a couple of weeks. But in better news, Avan Marich, Shane Edwards both to face fitness tests.
And I just want to clarify, I was mucking around there.
Of course.
He's doing a great job down there with the players.
So hopefully we get Avan and Shane back. And
That's
you spoke earlier about the leadership and the games played, and those two will be very important. So hopefully we get those two up and running and hopefully senior football.
Yeah, well, you talked about that leadership thing, and it's getting on my nerves a little bit, so I've got the one wood out. And in particular, the bashing of Trent Cotchin at the moment. I mean, it's been going on now for 3 or 4 weeks. Before the season even started, various commentators were saying, is he the right man for the job? Well, clearly he is when his own peers vote him in as captain. Now, leadership is a whole group type of a thing. Okay, you need the whole team on the same page. And I'm just sick of Trent being bashed in the media at the moment. A lot of people have had their opinion, but I feel that it's just getting a little bit over the top as we speak.
A little bit of a snowball effect,
would you say?
snowball
effect. I think people like to jump on and follow each other a little bit. And this whole thing, everyone's had something to say about it. And in particular, David King, who I know well and used to be a coach here, he's had a fair bit to say. But I reckon just let him go for a little while now. Let's judge the team and the leadership a few more weeks into the season. It's only round 2 and it's been going on for a month. But the thing I found most, I guess, not amusing, but in 2015 in July, probably one of the greatest captains of the modern era, Jonathan Brown, wrote an article. And I pulled it out yesterday because I'm not sure how much has changed from July to now. Yeah, one final where didn't play at his best and 2 rounds into this season. But in July last year, Jonathan Brown wrote, and I quote, Trent Cotchin stands alongside Luke Hodge as the 2 best captains this season. Cotchin's ability to deliver in big moments like Hodge has set the Richmond skipper apart from the rest of the pack this year. He's sensing the moment and doing special things to lift his team in its hour of need. And he goes on to pump Trent up for some individual performances which got us across the line in games like the Sydney game, like the Giants game, and he said he was eye-catching in his efforts to inspire his team. So this is Jonathan Brown saying that in July last year. Now, we know we had a slow start last year, but Trent was instrumental in getting Richmond to 15 wins last year and did get us across the line in some individual games. So let's just ease up a little bit for now. Everyone's had their say. let's just settle down and give him a chance. And then I heard Jake Nile this morning on the radio on SEN.
Yep.
And he spoke with a bit of sense, Jake, a pretty clear head.
Mm-hmm.
And he said leadership is a group thing and it needs to come across the board. And as I said before, we have 3 of our leadership group out. So, yes, the other night there were some mistakes that you may be able to stop if you have your complete leadership group out there. But at the moment we don't. And, we just need to wait till everyone gets back and maybe judge the team about mid-year on the whole leadership thing. Let's just take a deep breath now because I think it's gone a little bit over the top. So I just wanted to make that point. And the Jonathan Brown article from last year, that was in July. So not that much could have changed.
Well, they are pretty good points you make there, Richo. And I think it was after round 6 last year where we lost to North down in Hobart and the turnovers cost us, I think, plus 90 points. And I think someone put on record that we were irrelevant for the rest of the season, and then John O'Brien's come and written that in July. So it doesn't take long for it to turn around.
So
and
things change,
And it is only round 2, so let's hold fire and get a bit more body of work
I think so.
before those bullets are fired.
And that's the point I'm making. Things change, and I think a lot's been said now for about a month, and it's just gone a little bit over the top. So give it a spell, I reckon.
Having said all those things, we do need to get stuck into the review of the Collingwood game, and we played scratchy football again, but built up a lead so close to the end and lost it there at the end. What do you think was the difference between the two teams there on the night, Richard?
Well, there were probably 2 periods of the game where it was lost, and clearly the last 5 minutes, and we've gone over that over the weekend in all of the media, the TV and radio, and people have had their comments on that. But also I think that that period where we kicked 1 goal 6 in the second quarter, that was the period of the game where we could have put a bit of a gap on them.
Yep.
It didn't happen.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Richo. And I guess at the time where we were controlling the game and, those shots weren't taken, it probably didn't have that effect at that moment in time. But, as the 4 quarters went on as a whole, it clearly did come back to bite us.
But then they got up by about 10 points in the third quarter. I thought we showed a bit of resolve to get back in front. But clearly we're not playing good footy. We're turning the ball over too much, and we need to hold on to the ball and retain the ball a little bit better in the coming weeks.
It did just take those 2 periods of 3 quick goals from Collingwood to get them over the line against us. So while we're not playing the best football, we're still right in the contest. And if we can carry that in over the next couple of weeks and sharpen up a few areas.
The Crows give you a chance going through the corridor, so it's going to be interesting this week to see the response from the boys.
Yep. So we'll jump into the votes from last week. Richo, how did you see the match in your votes?
Yeah, so I gave... have we got Greeners on the line
I think we do.
You there, Tone?
Yes, I'm here.
You right or not?
No, I'm not right. I'm not right because I'll tell you why. Because when Brodie Grundy kicked that goal, I hurled the remote control against the wall, and it's ricocheted off the wall straight into my left foot. It has been giving me so much shit for the last 3 weeks. So I'm worse than ever.
You're worse than ever?
I'm worse than ever. I haven't slept since because I've been replaying the last 5 minutes over and over in my head as well. And it's just the pain and the anguish, the mental pain and the physical pain. I am an absolute wreck.
Well, can you give us a positive out of the game?
Thanks for asking anyway.
Give us a positive out of the game.
Jaden Short, of course. Yeah. Shorty was a positive. Yeah, no doubt about that. He was, as you said, he was just exciting watching him. He's just a natural small forward. Yeah. As Josh said, got front and square. Would have been great if he kicked that goal too. But no, he was terrific.
Hey, one other thing, mate. What did you? That Jonathan Brown article in July last year things couldn't have changed that much, could they?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. And you've done some very good research there, Richo, too, with that. I think that was late July, too, so it was nearly pushing into August. So not a lot has changed, as you said, apart from obviously a disappointing finals performance. Yeah. Probably round 1 he was down, but he was certainly better. There's no doubt he was better last week. It's just definitely an overreaction. There's no doubt. But this is the fickle nature of this industry, unfortunately. Yeah. You just put in a couple of bad ones and people forget even what they mentioned, what they've written previously, and they only go on your last performance. So,
Well, all right, mate. Well, give us your votes then.
All right, okay. I gave 3 to Dusty because I think it was a really strong 4-quarter performance, and it'd be good if we could claim him and have him up forward and in the midfield and maybe down back as well. It'd be pretty handy at the minute. Two to Basher. I thought Basher was terrific. Gave us a lot of run out out of the back line, and had, I think, 35 disposals, something like that. And I had one. Yeah, I had one to Shorty, just because his debut was really exciting.
Beautiful. Well, I gave 3 to Martin as well. He produced some big moments at various stages of the game, which, almost single-handedly got us across the line. Some of his powerful work to be able to break clear and set up teammates was unbelievable. 2 to Cochin, 38 touches, 7 clearances, 13 contested. If he kicks the goals and we win the game, he's best on ground. So it's a fine line. And Short, I gave him a vote. We talked about him before, but I thought it was fantastic to see a small forward get in the right positions, as Josh mentioned, and finish off with 3 goals, but also helped nullify Pendlebury in the last 3 quarters.
Absolutely. I've gone 3 votes for Dustin Martin as well. No surprise, I thought he was a clear standout Tiger on the night with 14 contested possessions right at the coalface, and not much more to say that you guys already haven't. 2 votes I gave to Foley, who got 35 touches, but as well as that, just 9 score involvements off half back and kept presenting and pushing up throughout the match and giving an option. And I gave 1 vote to Trent Cochin with an equal career high, 38 disposals and the clearances as well.
Beautiful. So the leaderboard, Dusty's off to a nice early lead. Now he's on 11, Lambert on 9, Rance on 6, Hooley 4, Cochin 3, and then Shorty and Lloydie have got a few votes as well. Hey, can I quickly answer a tweet here from Liam Peddle? Hashtag Talking Tigers. What type of player would you be targeting in this year's trade period? Well, clearly another midfielder like Treloar, who they had a crack at last year. Mm-hmm. But you know who I think you got to throw the kitchen sink at, Tone?
Who's that, Matty?
I think Michael Hurley's out of contract.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should at least have a look at him, because he can play forward or back, and he gets plenty of possession. And he's an All-Australian player, so I'd be looking at Michael Hurley.
It's a fair point. I think quality midfield is certainly, I reckon, the number 1 priority. But you'd have to look at Hurley as well. Yeah. Hey, can I just make mention? You just said I was gobsmacked. Your chief watch.
Why?
With Pikelets.
Well, he's gone apparently. Yeah.
This is just staggering. Obviously, the chief is now channeling the spirit of the late great GR with his ruthless.
He's turning into GR, you think?
He's turning into GR, clearly. If he comes with wears the trench coat around in the office now, you'll know that he has become GR.
All right, we'll keep an eye at that for that. Wow, but I wouldn't run into him today because
he's in a firing mood.
Is there a farewell for Pikelets? Or?
Well, Pikelets is stunned at the moment. He hasn't been able to speak, so we'll follow that up next week, Tom.
Oh, right, okay. Well, send him my very best.
Hey, sure, it's time for your segment, your brainwave of a segment. Oh, geez, you're flat.
Racing. Oh, gosh. I've got pain in my right knee, too. And I appreciate what Kenty, I think, was it Kenty, Tony Kent?
Yes.
Bringing it Mark Summers. Fairfield's a long way away from me,
Oh, you don't travel, do you?
If he was in Ormond or Bentley or somewhere, maybe because he might do home delivery or something, does he? Or
I reckon he would if you
might have to get on the Hurstbridge line there, Greeners, for Fairfield.
I can't even walk to my letterbox at the moment, anyway.
So what's your yellow and blacker this week?
Oh, my yellow and blacker. Thanks for your sympathy, anyway.
You're starting to wear thin on me, actually.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
My yellow and black book special this week is Alex Rance.
Yeah.
Now, Rancey, as we know, is just a gun. He's the best key defender in the caper. But it's fair to say he would even admit he made a few errors on the Friday night and he wasn't at his best. He will absolutely set himself for a huge game on Saturday, knowing the importance of that given the star-studded Adelaide forward lineup, and he will absolutely get back to his best on Saturday.
You went Koch last week, and 38 touches you're probably on there.
Yeah. I didn't want to brag too much.
So I'm going to go a bit more specific this week, boys. I went Sean Grigg last week, who came in,
right.
and he contributed. Griggy, he did. And he'll be better for the run because he'd missed a few weeks, obviously. So Griggy last week. This week, I'm going for Dusty Martin, and you might say, well, hang on, he's leading the TT post.
You can't ever have a go at me again.
No, but listen, I add layers to things, Tony. Right? There's a layer added to this yellow and blacker, and I think he's about ready to have a multiple goal game, and I mean 3+ goals, okay?
Okay.
So next week you can judge me on whether he's kicked 3 or more goals. I just think he's about to have a game where he gets 25, 20 to 25, more forward half, and he'll kick 3 goals. I've just got a strong feeling.
Nice.
Well,
Kicked 3 goals last time out against Adelaide, I believe, too, over at the Adelaide Oval.
Yep.
My one this week, a little bit left field. I've written down Jake Batchelor here, but it could go either way.
Tone.
Yeah.
JB, he hasn't quite grasped this segment yet. He's sort of
grasped it a bit better.
he goes a bit each way.
I saw what happened to Pikelets, and now I'm having a bit each way. So it's either
get it right because the chief might come in.
That's right. That's right.
You'll be listening. This is his favourite segment. Clearly.
I'm going either Jake Batchelor or Steve Morris or whoever comes in to replace Dylan Grimes here, because I think.
So whoever plays on Eddie Betts then?
More or less, yeah. They've got to keep Eddie quiet, and he was on fire last week. And last time out against Adelaide, Grimesy went down in similar fashion on the stroke of half-time, and Eddie was pretty well controlled up until then and kicked a couple of last quarter goals. But I think it's even more so than that. It's going to be really important to get a general back into the defensive half who can, I guess it's a bit of a footballing cliche, but to play a role and to make the team defend a bit better and concentrate for longer periods. Because last time out against Adelaide, we lost by 6 goals, and goals from the 20-minute mark onwards in quarters. It was 8 goals to 2, and that was the difference there. So I think that someone with experience to come into the defensive half.
You're doing too much homework here.
Yeah, he is. He's showing us up terribly. Yeah. Hey, Richard, who is their most dangerous forward?
Adelaide. Well, at the moment, I would say it is Eddie Betts, but they've got the best forward line in the comp. When you look at it, they've got Tex Walker, who hasn't had to kick a bag yet. Josh Jenkins has become a really good foil for him. Works hard. But Tommy Lynch, mate, his work rate, if you've got a guy that works at half forward like Tommy Lynch, and then you've got 2 keys like Jenkins and Walker, and then the best crummer in the game, well, you're going to have to make sure you put some pressure on them through the midfield, I think.
Could Rancy play on Betts?
He could, and that's what I mean. You can play a taller player on Eddie Betts because there's been success before by playing a taller player on Betts, not a small. And I think Port should have played Jonas or someone like that on him last week. But anyway, they didn't. And he's the man, I think, Eduardo. It's your time again, though.
I could listen to that sting all day. I really could. Fantastic.
Well, you've got all day. You just sit at home there and wallow in your own misery.
Anyway, my tidbits for this week... Well, they revolve around Shorty because he joined that select club at Tigerland. He kicked a goal with their first kick in league football, of course. And he's now the 14th to do it. And interestingly, 4 of those are current day players.
14th player at Richmond to do it.
14th player at Richmond to kick a goal with the first kick in league football.
You're going to name them all then?
Oh, I will name them all. Okay, well, I'll name the ones on the current playing list. So Shorty, of course. Sammy Lloyd did it against Collingwood in 2014, and Ben Leonard did it a few weeks later in the same season against Melbourne. And Trent Cotchin, of course, in his first game against Geelong back in 2008, he did it. So these are the 4 current players. But the first one that did it was Matt Insigniri back in 1911 against Collingwood at Punt Road. Ray Alsop did it back in 55 against St Kilda at Punt Road. Ido Benetti kicked the goal with his first 2 kicks in league footy against
Who was
Carlton.
that?
Ido Benetti.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. In round 8, 1961.
Yeah.
Nathan Bauer.
Boom Bauer.
He did it. Yeah. He did it against Carlton in the last round of the 91 season. Aaron Fiora, of course, our number 1 draft pick, round 7, 2000 versus Carlton. Going back before then, of course, our immortal coach, Tommy Hafey. Yeah. Tommy did it, obviously, with a back pocket, but in his first game, kicked the goal, his first kick round
Tommy did?
53. Yep.
Wow.
53 versus Collingwood at Victoria Park.
Yeah.
David Miller kicked 5 goals on debut for the Tigers against Collingwood in a huge Anzac Day game back in 77. He did it, first kick in league footy. And Richard Lounder, with his first 4 kicks in league football back in 89. So he debuted in round 5, 89 against North.
Yep.
Kicked 4 goals that day. His first 4 kicks, his only 4 kicks I think he had for the game were goals.
Didn't do much after that, Richard.
No. And then, of course, our great mate, Dale Waite, the Flea Waitman. Come on, sweetheart. It was actually 38 years to the day last Friday, April Fool's Day. It's quite appropriate for Flea. But he did it against Carlton. He did it against Carlton at the G. And Ben Moore, going back to 96.
Scooter Moore.
Scooter Moore, round 12 versus Adelaide at the MCG. Now, Basher Hooley also did it, but he did it at Essendon, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And our assistant coach, Ben Rutten, his first 3 kicks in league football were goals for Adelaide, and his last kick in league football was a goal.
Yeah, gee, you've done a bit today.
Yeah, and of course you were a member of a very select club also at Richmond.
What's that?
Goal.
What, the most goals on the MCG club?
No. Your first 10 kicks in... No. Your first 10 kicks in football were out of bounds on the full, actually. So
that's a bit
you
harsh.
are the leader in that regard.
The clubhouse leader.
And just while we're on Jaden Short before, he has now kicked more goals than any Richmond player wearing the number 45 jersey.
Sorry, Josh already mentioned it.
Earlier.
No, Josh didn't. I think Josh said that it was the most goals kicked on debut, I think, in a number 45.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Clearly, you didn't listen.
No, I don't know. I was probably just tending to my foot then. Yeah. Anyway, it's a real race. It is a race between Lids and I. Who's going to get back in time first? And I don't, look, it pains me to say it, but I actually hope it is him for the team's sake and everything.
To me, Tone, can I make an observation?
Oh, please.
I feel that this is mentally starting to fatigue you, this foot injury.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I think you're right. I can't question that at all.
Well, cheer yourself and us up with a couple of ripping gags.
Oh, a couple of gags. Mate of mine has a son who, after many, many years of studying at uni, has finally become a PhD. Have I gone with this one before? We might have. He's become a PhD, yeah. Yep. Or Pizza Hut delivery man, as people call it.
Oh no.
I've got them all mixed up there. All the gags. Goodness me.
It's a shell.
Anyway.
Have you got your post-its or not?
Yeah. They're on my post-its here. Yeah, look, I went to the doctor again the other day, and they're not just because of the foot and the
the minceys,
plantar fasciitis or the mince. No, actually, it's my hearing. I've been having hearing problems.
Right.
So, and the doc said, "Can you describe the symptoms?" And I said, "Homer's a fat bloke and Marge has blue hair." A mate of mine used to run a dating agency for chickens.
Oh, right.
But he had to close it down though. He was struggling to make ends meet.
Oh no!
And I'll leave you this one. We're actually in mourning today at the Greenberg household because our pet mouse Elvis died last night.
Oh no!
Yeah, he was caught in a trap.
I like that. Any Elvis gag I like. Well done. Hey, Tone, we really miss you. We hope you can make it in next week.
Get well soon.
Well, I'll have to. I've just got to struggle in somehow, don't I?
Yeah, you do. But there's no one left here, of course. Pikelets has just walked back in. He's shattered, so...
I'm gobsmacked like that, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
All right.
Thanks,
well,
mate.
Go Tigers.
We'll be right. We'll bounce back. Thanks for joining us again, all TT listeners. We love your support. Stay on board with the Tigers. We'll bounce back this week. We'll leave you with a little bit of Led Zeppelin. Josh's dad met him at a Wolverhampton game. There you go. That's pretty good. You can't beat that. We'll speak to you all next week.